Welcome to the channel. Shocking photo of the world.
Elvis Presley styling Johnny Cash's hair, 1960. Brigitte Bardot, 1960. African king riding a subject and holding an umbrella, German East Africa, 1913. Cabaret Moulin Rouge, Paris, 1923. 3 women accused of witchcraft, China, 1922. Scorpions, 1965. Jim Morrison and Pamela Courson, Los Angeles, 1969. North American Indian couple, 1912. Piano for the bedridden, UK, 1935. A patient is held in a mental hospital in France in 1900. Bride from England, Sweden, circa 18,701,899. Colosseum and Arch of Constantine. Italy founded 1870. Justin Trudeau, former Prime Minister of Canada, 1990s. Photograph of Venice, Italy, circa 1900. Photochromic image of young women on the island of Mochcan, Holland, between 1890 and 1900. A boy skates with a pillow tied to his back to cushion his fall on ice, Netherlands, 1933. Members of Robert Scott's South Pole Expedition in an ice cave, 1911. Hachiko at Shibuya Station, Tokyo, 1933. Akita Inu Hachiko became a legend of loyalty. He would accompany his owner to the station, wait for him after work, even after his owner died in 1925. The dog came to the station for 9 years. Vietnam Unification Day, 1975. Elderly women. Their face is a map of the years they've lived through, mark a historic moment. Skating rink in the Forbidden City, Beijing, 1957. The Forbidden City is a former imperial fortress where mere mortals were not allowed to enter. And here is a skating rink, ice, laughter, and ordinary life in the heart of Beijing. Geisha School, Japan, 1951. The teacher plays the shamisen, while the students absorb the traditions. View of Fujiyama, Japan, 1920. An active volcano, the highest point in Japan. In this picture, Fujiyama rises as a symbol of eternity. Hanoi, Vietnam, 1939. Rice fields, labor, and 3 harvests a year. Vietnam was already laying the foundations for becoming the world's leading rice exporter. Girls with bound feet, Shaanxi, China, 1930. The brutal custom of foot binding, dating back to the Song dynasty. Crippled bones and lives. Checking the catch, Nha Trang, Vietnam, 1950. Fishermen, the sea, nets, a simple life by the water, where every day is a struggle for the catch and food. Fishing with cormorants, China, 1946. Trained cormorants dive for fish, an ancient method still alive in China and Japan. Soba noodle delivery, Tokyo, 1956. Demi-couriers race through the streets delivering hot soba, fast, tasty, without losing shape. A true Japanese classic. Tiananmen Square, Beijing, the 1989 protest. Students, tents, hope for change, and, as often happens, hope drowned in blood. A square in Beijing, 1901. A photo where time stands still. Beijing is on the threshold of a new century, not yet knowing what upheavals lie ahead. Shaolin monks training, China, 1971. Shaolin monks are not just fighters, but philosophers whose discipline and fortitude still inspire today. Students studying, Hangzhou, China, 1917. The children hunched over their notebooks represent the future that was being built even in those turbulent times. Bangkok, 1950. Coca-Cola in Thailand plays its trump card. It is announced as the spirit's favorite drink. Sales soar, leaving Pepsi behind. Tokyo family watches moon landing, 1969. On July 21, 1969, the world was glued to their screens. In Tokyo, too, a family held their breath as they watched the first steps on the moon. Men of Leyden, Sichuan, China, 1908, carrying 144 kilograms of tea for Tibet on their backs, 10 kilometers a day. Strength, endurance and the spirit of old China in one frame. A company of captured German PZ, KPFW, V Panther tanks of Guards, Lieutenant Sotnikov east of Prague. Packing the Hermitage treasures, 1941. 1954 June 27. Launch of the world's first nuclear power plant in Obninsk. 1957 July 28. August 11th. 6th World Festival of Youth and Students in Moscow. 1970 to May 26. Signing in Moscow of the basics of relations between the USSR and the USA. 1986 April 26. Chernobyl nuclear power plant accident, cleaning the roof of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant from radioactive pieces of fuel, debris, and fuel elements. Fuel element Phi. Robert Liston was a pioneering Scottish surgeon. Liston was renowned for his skill in the pre-anesthetic era, when speed mattered in terms of pain and survival. William Stanley Milligan, aka Billy Milligan, 24 persons inside. Hiru Onoda was a second lieutenant in the Japanese military intelligence service, who fought against Allied forces on the Philippine island of Lubang during World War II from 1944 and for many years afterward, refusing to believe that the war was over. Marcel Pla is the first and only black Polynesian to fight in the Russian army. During World War I, Marcel served as a motor gunner on one of the Ilya Muromets biplanes in the Imperial Air Force. Jack Churchill was a lieutenant colonel, a recipient of the Distinguished Service Order and the Military Cross. He's famous for going into battle in World War rearmed with an English longbow and arrows and a Scottish broadsword. Pietro Mara Pedrillo was the favorite jester of Empress Anna Ionovna, who, thanks to his wit and resourcefulness, made a brilliant career as a court jester. He left Russia with a large fortune. Harry Potter is a private in the Royal Worcestershire Regiment of the British Army, whose grave in Ramel, Israel, became a tourist attraction after the publication of the books by J.K. Rowling. Vampire Likoy Old Russian is the first known ancient Russian scribe, a priest of the 11th century who lived in Novgorod. Lina Marcella Medina Durada, a Peruvian woman who became the youngest confirmed mother in medical history, gave birth at the age of 5 years, 7 months and 21 days. In 1822, Canadian Alexis Bidegain, nicknamed St. Martin, was shot in the stomach with a pellet and developed a gastric fistula. Tarari was a French showman and soldier known for his unusual eating habits. He could eat incredible amounts of food, including completely inedible things and objects, and still remain hungry. In California, a research center observed 42-year-old Frank White, who has never had a watch, but always knows the exact time, down to the second, once he was sent to the center, upon entering which, he determined with precision that the wall clock was fast by 52 seconds. And he was right. Amu Haji, a man who has not washed for over 60 years, was not sick with anything special, and is a phenomenon listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the dirtiest man in the world. Guards of Maharaja Ram Singh III at the Royal Palace of Jaipur, 1858. Zaybeks were militias and guerrillas who lived in the Aegean region of the Ottoman Empire from the late 17th to early 20th centuries. Japanese samurai, a military feudal class of minor nobles. Palace of Soviets Moscow is a 420-meter high project, the construction of which was started, but not completed for a number of reasons. The building of the People's Commissariat of Heavy Industry of the USSR is the building of the People's Commissariat of Heavy Industry of the USSR, which was supposed to be built on Red Square on the site of the Upper Trading Rows, now the Gum Building. Nikitin Tower, Travasha, designed by Soviet architects for Japan. House of Soviets in Stalingrad according to the project of the late 1930s. The center of Stalingrad was to be the 9th January Square named after V.I. Lenin, on which they planned to build a grand 10-story stepped building, with wide 3-flight stairs, and an 18-meter sculpture of Vladimir Ilyich leading to the main entrance. Arch of the Heroic Defenders of Moscow is a project in honor of the heroic battle of the Red Army for Moscow.